I am dead already. The only thing that can bring me back to life is Biafra. This life is meaningless without freedom, not just freedom. As I said before, I traveled to England to study for a reason and for a purpose. You cannot tell me that in England, they have gas piped all the way from the Scottish gas fields. There is 24 hours a day electricity. There is gas. If you're homeless or if you're unemployed, the government can give you what is called housing benefit. You can pay your rent and live in a decent home. They also give you money to feed as well. If I cannot do those things for my people, then my life is meaningless. So as I am right now, I'm already dead. I'm only waiting for Biafra to revive me and to resuscitate me. And I feel and I do pray that most other Africans should feel the way that I do. Because Africa is a failure because we fail to address the core and the key issues affecting our lives. We intend to change that. And by the grace of God Almighty in heaven, we shall be successful. My life doesn't matter anymore. What matters is Biafra. Everything else is irrelevant. And the zoo government, they know it. Everything is irrelevant. The only thing that matters to me, God is my witness, is Biafra, nothing more. I'm not doing anything. I don't have a car. I have nothing. The only promise I said to God is, give me Biafra, that's all. I don't want anything else. What am I doing with money? What am I doing with cars? I don't need them. The Biafra I do need. I am dead already. The only thing that can bring...
President Tinubu, prove them wrong that you are still alive. Set Nnamdi Kanu free. They are using him for political brigandry. All this political brouhaha you are hearing from them are not true. Bring him out. You will not understand what I'm saying until you retain him there.
But just like we said, Nnamdi Kanu is adamant, I will not drop my Biafran agitation for anything, even for the position of a vice president, even for the oil wells and what have you in Nigeria. But just recently, we know that they were attacked 10 minutes or 5 minutes away just from where the prison is. Do you think that these people have an agenda to finally silence Nnamdi Kanu because they've seen that this man is fearless and is bold and is adamant that if he can never drop this agitation? Do you think that, just like what Gumi said, if Nnamdi Kanu reduces his pride or becomes remorseful, is ready to solicit for his release? Do you not think these people have another agenda against
Nnamdi Kanu? Has already developed a thick skin, and his conviction is unshakable, and the quest for Biafran restoration is unstoppable. I think he has passed that message very clearly right there in the court. He is not. He does not look like somebody who is going to compromise at the end of the day. If he's somebody like that, he wouldn't have any business in that regard. But what I'm trying to tell you that in the Sokoto prison where Nnamdi Kanu is currently being kept now has turned to a mini Mecca. Nnamdi Kanu receives over 1,000 visitors. In that place, and I can tell you that Sokoto Christian youth community has taken it upon himself to make sure that everything within that space, within that environment, within that artist is being kept safe. Of course, the SND of Sokoto, the chairman of Igbo organization in Sokoto, and other Igbo people who has also done very well in terms of their stay in Sokoto, has made it has made it a mandate to keep Nnamdi Kanu flaming even while in incarceration. So there's no cause for alarm in that regard. What the Sultan of Sokoto, and of course, the governor of Sokoto actually joined in that visit anyway, with top government officials of Sokoto, saying very clearly that the Sultan of Sokoto seems to have this admiration from Nnamdi Kanu. And of course, I believe that in no distance time that Nnamdi Kanu would be granted presidential pardon unconditionally. And that is why the Sultan of Sokoto is I want to see Bola Ahmed Tinubu sit him down and tell him the bitter truth, irrespective that I do not align with whatever Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has come to believe in regarding to the issue that has to do with Nigeria as an entity. But the reality on ground is that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is innocent. And that kind of illegal conviction, judgment, should not be allowed to continue to destroy the judicial processes, just like what we are seeing here. Virtually 99% of people within Nigeria and outside Nigeria have totally and outrightly condemned that Omotosho's judgment. And people are still condemning it up to this very moment. And to the surprise of many, the Igbo tribe is everywhere, and you can see that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has virtually. What I learned is that the prisoners themselves and the warders around that prison, everybody, that place has come to life. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has brought life there because a lot of people who could not find anything to lay their hand on or eat and on that, floods of food, a lot of things are coming on daily basis, so I think that was why they said, they unanimously pronounced him the president in that place, because what they didn't expect happened. Imagine now the Khan has illuminated that place, and life came into the people. And when life came to any particular place, sanity comes, and that is what is attracting Sokoto, Sultan of Sokoto, that what kind of a man is this? I think, they need to answer those questions by themselves. That everything Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has talked about in Nigeria, including what we are hearing about Machikuka, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu also said it, has finally come to reality. Why are people pretending over this reality, over the type of person Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is?
Okay, and lastly, it's as if the Igbo youth are so angry with Ojus Okalu as regards one of the recent interviews he had on national TV. It's as if he's looking like it's as if he's adamant as regards Nnamdi Kanu's freedom. But do you have anything to say as regards what Ojus Okalu has been saying as regards Nnamdi Kanu's freedom?
But when they start beating him up now, start tracing him all his money, he start crying. When he start crying, you saw him crying like live on the Senate. When the same people he's supporting now and selling his brother for money denied him of a Senate seat. He saw how he cried. He started talking about Igbo marginalization and all that. So it was only Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that also consoled him and stood him. When Buhari picked him up for looted funds in Abia State as another, he saw he was kneeling down, crying. He knelt down. Now they don't know what Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is manipulating Ojus Okalu to an extent. The only thing he can use to compensate him for betraying Igbo people is to name Neya, her daughter, as a career ambassador or non-career ambassador, whatever it is now. So that is what Bola Ahmed Tinubu have used to compensate Ojus Okalu. I have not seen anybody. 99% of the Igbo nation, Igbo tribe, both South and Southeast, have come out and condemned that statement credited to Ojus Okalu over that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu disallowed over 30,000 Igbos. Unfortunately, I didn't. This is the kind of thing, and these are the type of people we see. Who has come to become a threat, to the Igbos. Ojus Okalu, in all honesty, tell the whole world that today that Igbos are not being marginalized in Nigeria. He cannot come. Will he say that Igbos are not being marginalized? Can he come and tell us that now we have seaports and airports and functional? It's not. He can't say that. So the only voice that is coming out to allow the world and to get justice, seek for justice for his people, these are the people that came out and condemned it. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was not violent, and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has not been violent. You cannot, misinterpret courage to be stupidity. Ojus Okalu should understand that. Yes, these are the people that the federal government use. Unfortunately, their agenda on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu failed because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu refused to compromise, and that is what that angered some of them today. That when immediately after the judgment, you see them flying to the media houses, immediately talking, saying all manner of things. But all these days, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have been going trial. You never see them say anything. But God and posterity will judge them. I want to say a big shout out to the General Azabuja himself, for the unification of the South-South and South-East agenda. But let me tell you that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu actually turned down Southern Sokoto delegate a visit to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in prison. He said he was not interested when the idea of trying to turban him came up. And Southern Sokoto is claiming like he suddenly have this admiration for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu because of his resilient attitude and approach to his convictions. That's what the son of Sokoto is trying to tell the whole world when Alex Oti actually had a meeting, a brief courtesy visit with him. He made it very clearly, and it is there in the media for everybody to digest and feast on it. So the question is that why did the Sultan of Sokoto suddenly develop a certain level of admiration on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Not only him, we saw Aisha Buhari, we saw Tinubu secretly admiring Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. A lot of people, look at his presence in Sokoto prison there. It has ignited, an understanding of a man who represents the entire black race. People see him differently. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, no matter how you look at it now, has become an icon. And how this thing happened? No, even in prison, nobody can be able to say, this is how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was able to navigate all the storm to the admiration of his enemy. Even his enemies, are beginning to acknowledge him. I think to an extent, it is a kind of embarrassment now on the motor show. Is wondering how can this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of a thing, the guy is getting more popular. And the one thing that his matter is being discussed in Germany, his matter is being discussed in France, his matter is being discussed just purely all over the world. So I think the Sultan of Sokoto is trying to see, if he can leverage on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's symbolic, character to see how he's going to bring about regional peace and stop regional hatred, tribalism, and all that. But I learned also that such message was actually passed to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, in prison, that he wouldn't like to. The man is saying he's going to send delegates to him. Maybe they will have a private discussion where several billions of dollars and other things can be put on the table to see how he can even suspend that, because they have been laundering, they've been using different types of people. So they actually confirmed that money and all that, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu rejected all. This is not just something you think will just come on this platform and stand and say you can go and verify. There are reasons why that kind of judgment took place illegally, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu seems not to be compromising with anything that has to do with Biafra. Remember, he said it very clearly, a man of his word. You see, a lot of things, even now, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's enemies are beginning to admire him, because he did not sell out. He did not compromise. He said, I will not disappoint you. You will be the one to disappoint me. And he has maintained that level of reality in this moment. I think, so if you are doing some things, people are watching you, people are watching your body language and all that. They have seen that this guy is not repenting at all and is not ready to drop the struggle of Biafra, because he has already gotten to that point where the world have begun to notice, the struggle, and the world is beginning to notice the calamity that is going on in Nigeria, the ethnic cleansing, the genocide, and all that. And the only thing that's left as an option is just disintegration of Nigeria. So, and people are saying too, if he has opportunity to near Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, possibly he is going to start having another philosophy about life, and maybe possibly, if he's an extremist, he can be de-radicalized at the end of the day. and the caliphate themselves will not want to see the Sultan of Sokoto, coming out and start saying anything apart from, Islam at the end of the day. That is another fear. Because Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is fearless, is brave, and he is courageous, and he believes in his convictions. So that on that area now, you can see the road. What are you talking about Nnamdi Kanu for? It shows that you've loved him. If Sultan of Sokoto is begging Nnamdi Kanu to come and take a chieftaincy title in the caliphate, you know what it means. But in the area where he's trying to tell Alex Oti and Nigerians, of course, that he's planning to have a visit to Aso Rock and tell Tinubu there's no need of the continuation of keeping Nnamdi Kanu in prison. It does not work. But maybe they are trying to look at in another way where they are going to use other policies, formulations to use him to leverage on the already regional tribal war that is going on in Nigeria currently, to see if they can actually bring peace. Because definitely, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's word has become command and order. There's nothing anybody can say. If Mazen Nnamdi Kanu steps in anywhere now, anything he says is final. And I can tell you now that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is controlling over 85 million Biafrans all over the world currently now. And you can see the United States of America has recognized him. Has recognized his struggle, as a freedom fighter and somebody who is being persecuted because he is a Christian in Nigeria.
What does Biafra mean?
It means freedom, liberty, fairness, equity, and justice.
In practical terms, these are very good sounding words, but in practical terms, what does Biafra mean?
Confederation.
So a weak center,
very weak,
very strong regions.
Absolutely.
Have you had a change of mind, therefore, about getting an independent Biafra? Because that's what I seem to be hearing.
No, I've not changed my mind, no. An independent Biafra means going back to the way we were before the white man came.
Okay, so you're not talking about a federation when you say a confederation. You're not talking about a federation as part of Nigeria. You're talking about total independence.
Absolute independence.
Complete independence. Now, is there anything that can happen that will make you change your mind about this particular direction?
No.
So it is either Biafra or nothing else?
Or death, yes.
Or death?
That's correct.
If push comes to shove,
yes,
will you go to war?
We have a picture of the man.
Bandit was given chieftaincy title.
And
the government officials were invited to the ceremony and they attended it. Is it not the same country where they were giving bandits wives? One state was organizing women for them. That if they got married, they would be...
Oji, look at the military fatigue the guy is wearing.
Come on.
If you dare wear that cap, the military will beat you blue black in public. But look at him wearing the military cap.
Unacceptable.
It's the audacity and boldness of impunity. That's
bandits and terrorists are criminals.
They are together. Take the story in Katsina State, where reactions have trailed the peace deal negotiations between one of Nigeria's most wanted terrorists, Isaiah Kwashen Garwa, with a community in Paskari local government area of the state. The deal was announced on Sunday in a post on X by Zagazola Makama, a security analyst specializing in the Lake Chad region. In the post, Makama explains that for a long time, the terrorists have been linked to kidnappings, killings, and raids across forest areas in Katsina, as well as neighboring states. Reactions to the story have been divided. While some see the development as a chance to restore calm in long-troubled communities, others question the sincerity of the bandit leader, recalling the atrocities attributed to his group. I mean, look at this man out there holding a rifle. He's out there, Rufai, and meeting with community members. And this is the sort of conversations we're having right now in Nigeria. I'll take the reactions trailing the story, and then we will continue. In the meantime, here's a reaction. This is from an ex-user. He wrote on X, is the peace deal the required justice for the numerous lives that were wasted and are still wasting so many years of setbacks, not only for the direct victims of insurgency and the Northeast, but also for the country in general? Negotiating peace with bandits and enemies who held the entire country hostage for so many days is synonymous with encouraging others to constitute themselves into groups to wage war against the country with the mindset of being granted amnesty after so many years of infiltrating havoc and destroying lives. Meanwhile, a peace deal that was intended to end years of violence in Nigeria's northwest has collapsed after bandits abducted 40 worshippers in Zamfara state. The peace pact had been signed on August 28 between community leaders and bandits in Katsina state. However, less than a month later, gunmen attacked a mosque in Gidantobe village in Safe local council and abducted dozens of worshippers during morning prayers on Monday. Despite the setback, the Katsina state government is saying they support community-driven pacts with repentant terrorists, but maintain a policy of zero negotiation. What sort of contradiction is that, Rufai?
So when you see a society that the oppressors are beginning to have a very free reign, and the people that the government ought to protect, the government can't protect them, so they try to look for deals with their oppressors. These are vestiges of a dysfunctional society. You will have thought that this government will focus on that, but they will never focus on that. They'll focus on politics. And that's why they were doing elections in Zamfara State, 5 local governments. I can't still process that thing. They deployed officers from Gombe and other parts, military officers, battalions were there. In security, you will never see that kind of mass deployment. You see, because number one, the government doesn't really care about you that much. So you are left in the hands of kidnappers and bandits. You have to beg them for peace still. And that's the dysfunctional society we live in. And it's that kind of dysfunctional society that breeds people like Bago. That Badegi FM held his feet to the fire. He felt no other thing to do. He said he was going to demolish the station. Thank God Badegi FM didn't call to him. You know how many media stations that have called to dictators and outright bullies in this country? They took him to court and he was repelled. Now he wants to look at the sermons of preachers. At a point, if care is not taken, I'm not saying he has done it, but at this rate, maybe he'll start looking at all the phones and the call log of everybody because he wants to censor thoughts. The best antidote to react, if they say you're not doing well, is to do well. But in a large regard, in a very big aspect, yes, he has gotten some successes right in agriculture, but in trampling of rights and things like that, he has not done well. Yeah. And we have to tell him what it is. In that interview, he made many blunders. And please, his chief press secretary should walk him about what they call image. He thinks he's straight talking, but he says a lot of rubbish. Just like what he said in that interview, that Borgu local government is bigger than the entire Southeast. Empirically, it was proven to be wrong. Borgu local government is not bigger than the entire Southeast. Right. So is this not the same man that told his police orderly to slap an imam or something? Yeah, and the next thing, his reaction was, oh, he was an imposter. So even if it's an imposter, you say they should slap people like that? All right. So, you see, we have a dysfunctional society that celebrates dictators, give them a free reign to rule, to lead, to hurt, to demean. And we are meant to go and say rankadede to dictators. And when you speak out, you are told that you are not patriotic, and they will couch it around religious and tribal lines. I mean, this is the situation that we have in our hands at this point. We have this terrorist leader who's actually on the number 9 on the DSS list, most wanted, and he's out there. His pictures are there, and he's negotiating with the community. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. We have a picture of the man
bandit was given chieftaincy title. And the government officials were invited to the ceremony, and they attended it. Is it not the same country where they were giving bandits wives? One state was organizing women for them. That if they got married, they would be...
Oji, look at the military fatigue the guy is wearing. Come on. If you dare wear that camo, the military will beat you blue-black in public. But look at him wearing the military cap.
Unacceptable. It's the audacity and boldness of impunity. That's
bandits and terrorists are criminals.
They are.
They do not deserve jollof rice. They do not deserve chieftaincy titles. Yes. They do not deserve any form of negotiation. No. The law of the land must be made to follow its course.
Well said, Dr. Batin.
Biafra had a military-industrial complex. They had no money. They were fighting Nigeria at the time from 67 to 1970. They made their bombs. They made their propelled grenade. They had their tanks. They had, what's that again? Ogunige. Now, they had all of that. When the war ended, this was dismantled. I was a kid. I went to the vice president of Nigeria, Vice Admiral. I said, why did you disband the military-industrial complex of Biafra? We could have been integrated into Nigeria, and by now we could have had the nuclear bomb. And he said to me, the reason was they felt Biafra would rise again. And so as a child, I went to Uli Airstrip. And I saw Uli Airstrip had every 10 meters they dug a hole because they did not want the planes to land in Uli. And I saw the governor the other day and he said till today they cannot surface that road properly because of the damage caused by Nigerian forces because they felt Biafra would rise one day. We are the cause of our problem. We are the cause of our problem. Biafra had a military-industrial complex and it was developed out of necessity. If you look at nations of the world, and nations that have a powerful military industrial complex. Most of these nations developed their military out of necessity. Israel, after the state was set up after the Second World War in 1947, I think, they felt encircled by the Arabs and they felt they needed a military industrial complex to survive as a nation. South Africa, they felt encircled and they needed to fight and protect the white minority government in South Africa. So they had to develop a military industrial complex. Rich people like us who enjoy buying weapons abroad do not feel the need to spend money on research and development on a military. But we pay the ultimate price. We pay the ultimate price. You won't. Pay attention. Biafra won't rise again. We pay the ultimate price. We must spend money on research and development. The brightest, smartest engineers, professors, folks in Nigeria live abroad developing weapons for other nations of the world. The technology exists. It is not rocket science. The scientists who are Nigerians exist. To put this together is not very expensive. There is no need for Nigeria. There is no need for Nigeria to buy bullets. We can make bullets. There is no need for Nigeria to buy AK-47. We can make it. There is no need for Nigeria to buy grenades. We can make it. There is no need for Nigeria to buy drones. We can make it. There is no need for Nigeria to import cars. We can make it. The military industrial complex, well funded, developed by Nigerians for Nigerians, will guarantee we will fight the war against these insurgents for next to nothing, because it will provide jobs. We have the technological base. It already exists. We could export our equipment.
Afọ onye Igbo ka o ji m dọbụrụba oruo Abuja ndị eriri eri ị na-akpọ eze nwa mmadụ bụ na ya ama ife na amara m bụ na ya ama ife ụna na-afụ ya afọ onye Igbo me dọbụrụba ejekpọrịa police from Abuja abịa kpụrụ nwanne ọkwụnụ fụ ụdị egbe faji ọkwụnụ fụ ya ya Allah